We're discussing the concept of accepting other people's realities, and I'm at the Kosel today. Baruch Hashem, we have Gishmei Bracha here at the Kosel, and all in Eretz Israel, which means that Hashem is answering our prayers, which is a wonderful thing, that Hashem brings life to the world to reign. And it's actually quite an appropriate day to speak about this topic, which I have today, which is recognizing the reality of someone who has low self-esteem. The great rabbi of one of the most influential, very influential rabbi of our time was Rabbi Dr. Avram Tversky, and one of his major themes was that most problems today stem from low self-esteem. And those of us who have gone through low self-esteem know how painful it is, how debilitating it is. And Rabbi Dr. Tversky had a theory that the more talented that you are, the more prone you are to self-esteem. And the reason being is because you look at your talents and you look at what you're accomplishing, and it's never really enough. A person is never really able to fulfill their complete aspirations that they have. And the more talented they are, the more aspirations they might have, and the farther away they might feel that they are coming towards proper fulfillment of their purpose in this world. And low self-esteem comes and says to a person, you're absolutely nothing, you're worthless, what are you doing with your life? Anyone who has this reality can affiliate to what I'm saying. And I must admit that for many, many years I had it myself. And it was really arduous, that's the right word. It was really a very, very great avoda, because it doesn't just help to tell yourself that it's not true. A person has to come to the recognition from their heart, from their mind to their heart, which, as we've said many times, is a very, very long journey. And what about other people who have low self-esteem? They might act in a way that they're worthless, and when that manifests itself in relationships, it could be quite debilitating and quite difficult. So, the first, I believe at least, the first Pesach, the first entrance or exit, we could call it better, to getting out of low self-esteem is recognizing your own personal greatness. Rav Chatzkel Levenstein, who was one of the big Bali Mussar of our time, and you would expect him to recommend the Sefer Mesilas Yesharim, Chovos Levavos, Sharai Tshuva, which are very straightforward Mussar Svarim. He said, really one of the most important Svarim we should learn is Nefesh HaChaim, which is quite surprising, since it contains so much Kabbalah, which is so far from most of us. He said, Rav Chatzkel Levenstein, when you learn Nefesh HaChaim, you realize what a Jew could really achieve. The great, great heights, the worlds, the higher worlds that exist, and the great heights that we could reach. And this is critical for each and every one of us. Each and every one of us has to know how high we can reach the highest planes of existence in our relationship with Hashem, in our relationship with other people, and even in our relationship with ourselves. We could, by coming in touch with our neshamas, we could reach very, very high places. And this is what Nefesh HaChaim describes through the names of Hashem, through perception of the Olamos, how Hashem sends His Shefa, His infinite light, from the upper worlds to lower worlds. By recognizing this reality, right? So we can balance ourselves with a proper self-esteem. And in truth, as the Gemara in Kedushin says, and the Gemara in Sukkah says, the Yetzer Hara attacks us every single day, and it has such strong forces, it's impossible to overcome it. We just need two things, really. Teira, Barasi Yetzer Hara, Barasi Torah Tavlin. I created the Yetzer Hara and I created the Tavlin for it. The Torah is the spice. It's the spice, or according to some explanations, the bandage, which helps us to survive the onslaught of the Yetzer Hara. And it's really an onslaught we have to appreciate. It's an interesting thing that it's called a Tavlin. Barasi Yetzer Hara, Barasi Torah Tavlin. And I believe we can explain this as follows, that there's two reasons why you use a Tavlin in cooking. One of them is just to give you a special taste, like you have a cup of bitter Brazilian coffee, and you put some milk and sugar in it, and that really improves the taste. That's one concept of a tavlin. But there's another idea of a tavlin to accentuate tastes. And the Torah helps us to bring out, to accentuate things, to accentuate our positive attributes, to accentuate the reality of ourselves, what we're really doing, to accentuate the existence of the Yetzer Hara. And when these concepts are accentuated, accented, or maybe, or stressed, then I don't mean stressed like stressed out, I mean stressed like focused on, then we can really serve Hashem properly, hopefully, because we have recognition of it, right? And this is the concept of recognizing realities. Recognizing realities. We have to live in two levels. We have to live in a level recognizing our own reality and seeing the way we see the world and appreciating it if we have low self-esteem, right? Number one, accept, accepting the reality, but number two, at the same time, I don't use the word fighting, but challenging that reality. If the Yetzer Hara comes and tells you you're absolutely nothing, you're doing nothing with your life, why don't you just stay in bed all day and sleep? And he does that to just about all of us, right? Just about all of us. Just about all of us are confronted daily with that Yetzer Hara, just in different degrees. And the way to challenge that Yetzer Hara is to say, no, well, maybe you're right, but I think there's a lot of things I could do. I think I could dive into Hashem. I think I could study Torah. I think I could do Chesed. I could do wonderful things. I could work on my midos, and I could even change the reality of my perception of the Yetzer Hara. So this is something really, really important. We have to accept that reality that we might have low self-esteem. We have to challenge that reality. But most important is when other people, we come in contact with other people, right, or when other people come in contact with us, they should appreciate that reality. Right? If a person all the time is saying that they're nothing, that they have no purpose for life and no existence, don't say, "What are you, crazy? You're such a successful person." Or, "Of course you have a lot to give to the world." These things like that. And say, "You know what, you can really do it. I appreciate it. You have such talent. Maybe let's try to do something together. Maybe we can work." Because it says Tov Shnaim and Echad. Two is better than one. You have three people, is already a group, that will not dissolve quickly. That when you have more than one person, you could really accomplish the greatest things. So let's all of us who have low self-esteem, myself included, yeah, um, my technique I'll share with you was just to do so many things that when the HR comes and says that you're absolutely nothing, I'm like, but look, I'm doing all these things, and then the HR just moves on to new tactics like trying to get me to eat as much cholent as possible on Thursday night, things like that, and to think that I'm the biggest, most important person in the whole world, which is a paradigm shift. It's pretty funny actually because the HR will start off by telling you nothing, and then he'll tell you everything. So really, you can't win, but you can win. You can win, and the first shlav, the first step is to recognize, like we said, Brasi Yitzhar, Brasi Torah Tavlin. The Torah helps us recognize this reality, right? That we might have low self-esteem, we might have gaiva, whatever, and we'll speak about that at a different time. But the first step in recognizing reality is, excuse me, is to recognize it. And therefore, if you're like myself right now, and you're sitting in the rain, and you feel that it's just a lot of rain in your life, remember it's Gishmi Bracha. And as the Gra says, he says that Torah is like rain, it makes things grow. But that's why you need first to learn Musar. He says that's like weeding it. The Gemara says, whoever spends a long time in the bathroom, that's amazing, right? Okay, so some rabbis have libraries there, etc. Maybe it'll help you daven better if it's not too long. But the Gemara explains the idea is that the bathroom is Musar, is getting rid of the negative in your personality, because then when you learn Torah, which is rain, which makes things grow, the bad midos are like weeds. The weeds won't grow. So let's all weed our gardens. Let's all recognize our own reality and try to improve them. Let's appreciate other people's realities and recognize them and how do you say that? Verify and validate Let's validate other people's realities, and Hashem should help us in this very worthy endeavor. Amen. King Ratzon.